Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to discuss the 3 fragrance releases from SOKI London. So SOKI London is a YouTube channel. Her actual name is Sophie. She has fantastic fragrance content and she launched her first fragrance, Empress, I think a couple years ago. A year later, she released Aphrodite, and then this year she's released Artemis. So I have reviewed the first 2, but I thought I would review the third and then also just give you a comparison and tell you what my thoughts are, which one I think is the best, like what my favorite is, all of that kind of good stuff. But before I get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It would be amazing to have you part of the community, and let's get into this. I'm going to actually just start with Artemis, being this is the latest release. Now, what's cool, the color of the bottle in natural light is this dark shade here. But in the light, it's this gorgeous royal blue color that looks like a gem. Love the color of the bottle when the light hits it. When the light isn't hitting it, it just looks like a dark midnight blue, which I think is the perfect color for this fragrance. It definitely gives kind of nighttime vibes. I believe the inspiration behind Artemis was from the Disneyland movie Fantasia, when the fairies are kind of dancing around this pond. So she wanted to capture that nighttime kind of dance of the fairies is kind of what I gathered. And I'll leave her video link down below where she's talking about this fragrance. What I get first off is plum. So I get this beautiful kind of rich plum note, which I'm a huge plum fan, but this also kind of right alongside of that is a green. So kind of a green plum. The plum smells ripe, but I smell the greenness. It almost feels as if you're really getting a sense of the tannins in the skin of the plum, if that makes sense. That's kind of how the green comes across to me. Now I'm going to read the notes, and just so you know, like these are still available on Amazon. So these are my fragrance journals that you can purchase on Amazon. And like I have used this, like I'm needing a second book. So I use these tons. If you're a fan of getting samples and trying out samples, this is a fantastic tool because you can put the notes in there. You can put what it smells like to you, whether it's affordable, whether you get a compliment, all of that kind of good stuff. I don't know about you, but I forget basically the next day when I'm trying on a new fragrance. What was the note that I noticed? All of that kind of stuff. So having a book like this is great as far as being able to catalog your fragrances, but also especially for samples to kind of figure out, okay, is that something you need? Does it smell like something else? So these are still available. They'd make good Christmas presents. Shameless plug. Yes, let's move on. So Artemis opens with nectarine, peach, and plum. I definitely get that plum in the opening. In the heart, it has green leaves, osmanthus, and peony, and the base is cedar and sandalwood. So what I get, like I said, that plum, kind of a greenish plum to begin with. To be honest, I don't really notice the florals. Osmanthus smells quite peachy. So as this starts to develop on the skin, the plum kind of recedes and I get more of a nectarine peach feel. It almost feels as if there'd be some vanilla or some sweetness in there. So peony I find to be a really sweet floral, as well as osmanthus having that kind of peachy feel. So maybe that's what it is and it just doesn't register as a floral, but I really get that nectarine, and none of the fruits smell like, you know how some fragrances, they smell like fruity florals and they're really, you know, happy, cheery, whatever. This one's a lot more moody. So the peach, the plum, the peach almost smells like an overripe peach. Same thing with the plum. Really, really rich, but not necessarily uber sweet. As this dries down, I start to notice that sandalwood and cedar coming out, and it just smells like this nice kind of creamy, woody smell paired with peach. That's where it kind of lands for me. It smells slightly vanillic to me, even though vanilla isn't noted in there. I find that this one is quite green for a good 3-4 hours, but the green is paired alongside that fruit. So it just feels like a fresher, almost like you're smelling it outdoors. What I find with this fragrance as well is that it smells very sensual, kind of sexy. To me, this is the sexiest of all three of the fragrances. Of course, it just depends on what you're looking for. So that is Artemis. I'll share with you my final thoughts on them, but I'm just kind of comparing them. The one that she released just before Artemis was Aphrodite. So this was SOKI London's second release. And this one is a lot fresher, tropical. Like as soon as I smell it, I think of summer for sure. Aphrodite has mango in the opening, and the heart is lotus and palm leaf, and then the base is coconut and aquatic notes. Now, what I get more, so I get that mango right off the bat. So the mango is really fresh along with that green. And what I've noticed with all three of these fragrances is that they both all have a slight green component to them. This is the greenest and most aquatic, with that palm leaf and the lotus flower in there. The coconut doesn't smell like a fleshy or sweet dessert like coconut at all. To me, this is more of a coconut water feel. So definitely get that bright, zingy mango. It smells like a tart mango, a little bit green mango, along with the palm leaf. So that's what you get to begin with. Almost a dry feeling mango, although it does make my mouth water when I smell it. The coconut smells fresh because it's coconut water. So this is the perfect fragrance if you love mango. This isn't like a juicy, sweet, sickly mango. This is a fresh, kind of tropical, airy, breezy mango along with that coconut water feel. So this gives me the same sort of vibe as something like Coconut Fizz, which was one of her inspiration fragrances. What Sophie has done so well is she has taken some of her like favorite fragrances that have been discontinued, and she uses those as springboards for the fragrance. So Coconut Fizz, I definitely get the inspiration. So I get that coconut fizzy kind of component, but added with the mango, which makes it so nice. It's still that fresh feel, kind of like an Aqua Allegoria from Guerlain. The only difference between the Guerlain and something like this is that this is a way longer lasting. All of these fragrances last a real decent amount of time on the skin. So I get a good 7 to 10 hours out of all of these fragrances. So this one, definitely the most tropical. This is an easy reach. You could wear this all year round, especially if you're in a warmer climate. So this one's great, but it definitely feels more summery, more tropical. Now, Sophie's first release was Empress. The cap was a little bit different than the other two. I just love this one. It has this beautiful wild strawberry note in the opening. To me, a wild strawberry note smells different than a strawberry note. So the wild strawberry smells a little bit more green, a little bit of an earthiness. In the heart of this fragrance is rose and peony, and the base is patchouli, popcorn, and toffee. Some people have mentioned that they smell the toffee right off the bat. I don't. I don't smell the toffee. I don't smell the popcorn until way later. But what I get is the rose, the peony, and the wild strawberry. And I just love it. The rose smells quite jammy. I just so enjoy this fragrance. This one's so good to me for like winter, fall type. If you want a good, sweet, kind of fruitier fragrance, this one is amazing. And this one I wear all day long, although I can see this being more evening appropriate, likely. I just wear it all day long. It smells sweet. I love the strawberry. It doesn't smell like a sweet candy strawberry. Definitely more like a bowl of wild strawberries with that green in it. So you're getting a little bit of the stem and stuff. The patchouli definitely comes out, so you've got to like patchouli. I just really enjoy this one. I've had this one the longest. I've definitely put a decent dent in this one. And this one lasts a ridiculous amount of time. So this one's over 10 hours. The other two are a little bit less to me. This one seriously lasts forever. So as far as the fragrances are concerned and how I would rate them, this is my least favorite out of the three. And the reason being is I'm just not a freshy girl. So this one's nice. It's great in the high heat, but I'm just not huge on the freshy. So even Coconut Fizz, I thought it was nice, but I wouldn't reach for it very often. This is very similar. So I really enjoy it. I think it's beautiful. I think lots of people, this would be probably the easiest to love. But you have to like that freshness. The mango is beautiful in here, so it's not that it's a bad fragrance. I just don't tend to reach for freshies very often, so this would be at the bottom. Now, out of Empress and Artemis, I'm actually really struggling to pick a favorite. In the past, I would say I would have picked this one because I just love that wild strawberry mixed with the rose and the patchouli. It's sweet, it's a little bit syrupy, but it's balanced with the right amount of green, the right amount of tartness. The patchouli is beautiful, so I love this fragrance. The lasting power on this is so, so amazing. So in the past, I would have probably picked this one, but honestly, this is the one that I would choose at this point. I am so digging the sensuality of this with that plum. Like, so for me, these two fragrances, these two smell like designer fragrances, if you know what I mean. So they're very nice, a little bit more mass appealing, both of them. They've got that sweet component. So they're both really nice fragrances, but I think of them more in a designer light, whereas this smells niche-y to me. So this is definitely less mass appealing, like you want to sniff it. And by the way, for those of you that are in North America, all of her fragrances are available on FragranceNet, and I'll have everything linked down below. So if you're in North America, you can get samples and all of that on the FragranceNet site. You can get them from SOKI London's website as well if you live in Europe. But this one, I just love it. I love that plum. I love the nectarine. I love the greenness. I love the woodiness. I love the sensuality of it. It's kind of dark and mysterious. So this one is sexy, like it's sexy, but it's kind of a happy sexy. This one is a mysterious sexy, and I just love it. Like, I love this one. This is what I'm gravitating towards these days, just a little bit of mystery in the fragrance. I love the plum. I love the fact that it's got that greenness in it, which is interesting. Like, it's a really interesting fragrance to me. So I really, really, really dig this one. It doesn't come across too woody. So a lot of fragrances are really woody. The woody just feels like it supports the plum and the nectarine, but it doesn't smell like an artificial plum or nectarine. It smells like a slightly overripe, almost like you've taken it and muddled it in a cedar bowl, if that makes sense. That's the feel that I get from this. So it's bordering on it. To me, it almost borders on a little bit indolic. It definitely smells more green in the opening. As it kind of finishes, it kind of gets a little bit sweeter on the skin. So I love this. Like, I'm really, really impressed. So these two are loves. This one's a bigger love. This one's a like. I don't reach for it very often just because it's fresh. But these two, big time loves. What about you? Have you tried these fragrances? If you have, please weigh in. It's always helpful to have other people's viewpoints and opinions. I want to say congratulations to Sophie for an awesome release. I really appreciate what she's doing. Like, she's going for it. I'm very happy for her. And yeah, those are my thoughts. So weigh in. Let me know what you think. If you've got all three, rate them and tell me which one is your favorite. I would love to know. And other than that, have an amazing week. We'll talk to you soon.